Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us today. For those who might be new to the channel, I'm Artemis, and today we have none other than the co-founder of Illuvium, Grant Warwick. But before we dive into things with him, let's quickly take a look at that PvP hype trailer that Illuvium just dropped. Let's start off with what I think is the biggest news to hit the Illuvium community in the past year. And
Mhm.
I mean, you know it, I know it. It's not just that PP3 is finally coming, it's soon, but it's going to be available to absolutely everyone on the Epic Game Store starting November 28th. And
Mhm.
I play games, but I know shit all about game development and what it takes to get things places. Can you tell us a bit about what the process is like getting Illuvium into the Epic Game Store?
Well, we didn't really know we were going to get the game on Epic Game Store until very recently. So, just as that news came out of nowhere, and the entire community was like, "What? We're not only announcing PB3, but it's on Epic Game Store." That to us as developers was also a giant news. We had internal team members who were like, "What? We're going on Epic Games?" Obviously, there's legal elements to that, especially being a crypto game. Our head of legal, Vic, she's doing an amazing job here in Dubai with me, just trying to streamline everything legally. And it's a huge task for her because crypto projects are under extra scrutiny. But she had to go through all the legal requirements to make sure that we were like, and everything needs to go through that. If we do a video like the hype trailer, even the logo needs to get legal approval to be used with their branding. We've got to make sure we're doing things correctly. We've got Jeremy making sure I don't even have access to the Epic Game Store page because it's like if you mess anything up, if you change copy around, if you update an image wrong, we've got to go through a review process again. Everything was super rushed, but somehow they were amazing in reviewing our page really quickly and getting that up. Once we got approval, then it was like, okay, but we're going live with the beta in under 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So what do we do to get the page looking good? That's where we had to like rethink the hype trailer, have to rethink getting in-game screenshots, what type of copy is, and then we realized that other it's like Epic Games is more like a coloring in book for gamers. It's like we want to try and present Illuvium as this really complex ecosystem, but gamers don't care about that. They just want to see a cool trailer, see
Mhm.
cool screenshots, and go. So it's like learning from the branding side because we've been branding ourselves to crypto people for so long who do research and like expect to know about a project. Whereas mainstream, it's just show me something cool and hope for the best. And if the game's crap, I'll tell my friends in 5 minutes, and then that's it. On to the next one. This whole process was absolutely crazy, but the best part about getting on Epic Games has nothing to do with our community. It has to do with internally being able to get automatic updates out to everyone. Because the thing that was
Yes.
slowing, well, we were it's frustratingly slow pre Epic Games to get the game updated on your computer. You have to unzip a 20 gig file from a Google Drive. This is how it was. This is
Yeah.
literally how it was. Every single day there was a new build. You expect 150 CCs who are potentially testing the game to download a 20 gigabyte file. unzip it with password protection. You got to go into 1Password, get the
Mhm.
passwords, unzip it, re-log in again every day. It was super frustrating, and the development process was really slow. Getting on Epic Games has meant that every single person on the team automatically updates the game. So if they go to sleep, it's there when they wake up. The testing and improvements we made in the last month were an order of magnitude greater than the 6 months prior in Arena. Honestly, it's crazy how much of an improvement that made to the development process. And kind of in hindsight, like, why the hell didn't we try and get that on there earlier? But that's just part of being a newbie studio, I guess you could say. But
Learn as you go.
yeah, learn. That's a harsh lesson to learn, honestly.
Well, and so I find it really interesting. Previously, when we've been playing private betas, we have to have that beta code to be able to get those
Yeah,
updates.
yeah.
But now with Epic Game Store, anyone who wants to try it is going to be able to jump in and test out Arena.
Hmm.
What was the decision like to take out that beta access and just give it up to everybody? Like, and what can new people to the environment expect with the upcoming release?
Well, I think they can expect a very polished auto battler. That's where most of the focus has gone from a development standpoint. And I'm sure you've heard from TSG and a few other people. You were shown the game, and that was even outdated a little bit. The game is extremely fun, and there are a lot of team members who are addicted to it. When you see the retention that we have with internals playing the game and how many games they've played, some of them hundreds of games in a matter of just like 2-3 weeks, the game has a lot of people hooked. It has me hooked. I was very fearful early on of the game being overwhelming at first. And like, okay, now we're going to Epic Games and we're just opening it up to everyone. What does that mean? Is the game too complex? And Aaron, without bias, like literally being the most intelligent person I've ever met, which is kind of like in a weird way, he's a little bit robotic, and you sometimes question like, is it too complex? I think he and Ben have really delivered on a game mode, because once you get through that initial scariness of the game being overwhelming, it hooks you. And then you realize that, okay, I just got absolutely crushed, and you feel like you suck, but there is a counter for it. And then someone counters that. And we've slowly been kind of finding what the meta is at this stage. So the scariness for me is gone. I think Web 2 players joining are going to love it. Honestly, I just feel like people are going to really like this experience that we've made. And in terms of like what it meant, I think it's pretty obvious. You want to get your game out to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So, like, why wouldn't we? Right? Like this whole idea. Kieran and I were against this from the very start. We've been saying just release it to everyone. But you've got Johnny on the other hand, who's trying to make sure that the game's servers aren't going to crumble under the load. You got a bunch of technical stuff that is out of my league. I don't understand like how to manage that type of stuff. And we've been doing load testing. Things are working good. Just today, we did a load test with 10,000 concurrent bots. No issues arose. So things are looking really good, right? Things are looking really good about this release.
I'm really excited because one of the things that I always kind of like, I have tons of friends who are into League of Legends. I never got into League because it
Okay.
felt like there was such a steep learning curve with all the characters and all the specific attacks. But with TFT, it made it feel like it was easier to take it all on and at least, surviving the first couple of battles.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing PvP and experience it can be two different things. I'm really, really excited to jump in and test it out. And it kind of goes that way with Web 2 players. It's can be easy to catch their attention, especially if you're in the Epic Game Store and we're trending.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to keep it. What do you think that gamers in general, Web 2, Web 3, let throw those words out.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that people are going to love most about PvP?
I would like
Hard to
a
pick.
week ago. A week ago, I would have said the graphics,
Mm,
right? Just out of like, I just know that people love the graphics. Universally, there's been very, very few people who've said they don't like the game visually. But
mhm.
then, like I'm getting hooked on the gameplay element of it. If you forced me to play the game on the lowest graphic settings right now, it wouldn't matter to me. Which is maybe you just think I'm selling you or selling the community here. It's not just me who feels this way. Like, a good game, the graphics shouldn't matter. And any competitive game out there, players will play it on the lowest setting anyway, just to make sure the frame rates are smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, CSGO, no one's playing that on anything other than low. Fortnite, people were playing on low. PUBG, people were playing on low settings. For me, that was crazy. But I'm at a point now where the gameplay is more hooking to me than any of the graphics, honestly, which is a little bit scary because it's kind of just hard for even me to believe. I've been very critical of the idea that like an auto battler is scary. Like, it's not guaranteed to catch on with a massive white mainstream audience. Like, TFT has done it, but they also had League of Legends a massive community before that. I don't know. I just think people are going to love the competitiveness and the tactical evolution this game allows for. Like, as you play more, the scariness fades and you realize, hang on, I can actually do some crazy stuff.
So let's play devil's advocate just a bit. What do you think gamers might dislike about Illuvium or could potentially push them away altogether?
Look, to be totally
Anything?
honest with you, Overworld right now is still not at a Pokemon level. It's still, and we haven't pushed for Overworld to be that yet. We said that to take on the community feedback
Mm-hmm.
from even a year ago, right? We need to get Illuvials in the Overworld. We need to get some form of combat with the Illuvials in the Overworld in. Otherwise, Web 2 players just aren't going to be impressed by it. And if you look at a game like Power World that is just starting to pick up huge amounts of hype in the traditional gaming community,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to do what was the main things we said, which was make a modern Pokemon. And Power World right now, I'm not saying like we do exactly what they're doing or anything like that, but they have interesting combat, like with weapons, with Pokemon clones, basically, where you're using guns to fight them. Just high action. It's not boring. It doesn't look AAA in any capacity. The animations are janky, but the community they have and the comments you see on their YouTube videos is extremely positive. And when I go play Overworld, I don't get that same excitement, just simply because the things that we're developing take longer than we've had to get this arena beta out. Like, we're still
Mm-hmm.
working on getting Illuvials in the Overworld, and there are really cool things that I've been forced not to share with the community because we just want to get it right. That we feel like arena is in a great place. Overworld now needs the same love and attention, and that's to me the biggest weakness. I really can't see people hating on arena unless you just hate auto battlers in general.
Mm.
I think TFT people are going to love it, and I think anyone who loves Pokemon is going to be underwhelmed with the current version of Overworld. So it is what it is. We just need more time. We need to pivot a little bit more resources to the Overworld and go from there, because there's a lot of stuff that we've worked on that hasn't made it in. It's just a big undertaking.
To me, until you guys add in, so I'm probably on the minority in the Illuvium community. I love Overworld a bit more than I love Survival Arena right now. And until you add in the lore and the storytelling,
Yeah.
or something that I have to do, like I also like daily quest or mini quest or something to strive towards, whether
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
trying to find the way to the next region.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Overworld is not going to be included on the Epic launch? Is it only going to be
So,
PvP?
so right now, we one of the scary things for us, as soon as Epic Games happened, and this all super recently, right? We weren't going live on Epic Games. We were still going to have the download available to our internal community who have beta codes. Anyone who has access, then we start giving out more beta codes. Going to Epic Games means just launching to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, a whole new range of players that don't have any of the context that your followers have or our internal community has. And that was a little bit scary because we were working so hard to get the game on Epic Games Store and to get PB3 out that it was hard to stop as a studio and ask ourselves the question, is Overworld good enough for someone without any context as to what we're planning to do. And I think the answer was almost a unanimous, like, no, we're not ready. And so we've made the decision to keep the overworld closed behind a beta code that our internal community has. Everyone who already has access will have it, and anyone in our community that wants to test it can be given a beta code, but we will keep it locked for the Epic Game Store.
Okay.
That is a pretty big decision that has gone by council. It was something that was pitched to council. You know, we gave our opinion. We said that a lot of the team was behind that decision. And as big a decision as that is, I do feel like that's the best decision to make, because what do we gain from having Overworld available to the Epic Games community without context, without blockchain connected, which totally changes the gameplay experience, just the ownership. Like, it's not connected to the arena yet. Like, you can't go into Overworld and build your team that way. So there's no real, like, all the fundamental things that make Overworld great without it being Monster Hunter and Horizon Forbidden West, like the blockchain connecting it to Overworld, connecting it to Arena, just make the experience lesser. And then on top of that, we've got heaps of stuff to do, like get alluvials in. And if I really wanted to, I could share leaks of us running around hunting alluvials. They're in the overworld. We've got stuff in development. It's
Awesome.
happening. And it looks ridiculous. You got someone like Kieran who comes in and sees that update and goes, well, instantly the game looks 10 times better. And it does, right? The game is, I feel like we've been pretty real with the community. And this is something that Web2 doesn't see. They don't see AMAs like this. They don't see the Leaks channel. They don't see interviews with us explaining that we're not ready yet and we need more time. And they'll just bash it. As sucky as that is, I do feel like that's the thing that would happen. And so maybe in a month's time, then we go, okay, we can launch it. But yeah, Arena good, Overworld still needs time. As soon as I can share alluvials running around and us shooting them, had a talk with Kieran today, and we're like, Kieran's like, just let's do it right now. Let's just start sharing it.
I'm so
and I'm
excited.
like, it's still like, you want to share stuff. It's like, let's actually show people stuff that's at least on the Power World level of like actiony.
So as we're heading towards open beta, because I feel like now with PB3 releasing, it just feels closer than ever. For those who are going to be new to crypto, because as much as we want to just talk about this game, the really exciting part is that ownership. How is the team planning to help educate and onboard the people who are new to crypto and less familiar with blockchain and everything that goes into that?
We're already developing tutorials right now. And some of those are just typical, web-based tutorials, just videos that we put out to social media platforms. And then we're doing more complex tutorials built into the game itself. So we have a dedicated full-time developer, Hubert, building out our movement tutorials. We have this is the other cool thing about Overworld, right? Right now, like, and you said it earlier, there's no lore in the Overworld, so you don't feel like you have any purpose. You go in and it's just a tech demo. We have really cool movement. We have heaps of ways to make Overworld cool and interesting, but they're not in yet. For me, and this is something that our entire team's behind, we've been having meetings about this every week, building, just getting cinematic cutscenes that bridge things together. What happens when I go into Illuvium and I create a new character, right? You've crash landed on this planet and you're a ranger that has to go out and capture characters to serve a purpose, which ultimately has meaning, right? You're not just randomly doing shit, right? You have to have meaning, and that requires a really well thought out cinematic intro that is like a playable cinematic, something where you spawn into the world, you get introduced by NPCs as to what's happening in the Illuvium world, why you're doing things, how to move in the overworld, how to capture characters, how to fight battles in the auto battlers. All of those things need a proper story-based intro, and we're doing it right now. We've got Yannick getting hooked up to motion capture suits so that we can get NPCs in the overworld. We've got Ben trying to figure out how we can incorporate the Pokemon trainer element of like quests. Like, how do I
So
things
excited.
that it's exciting, but it's going to take a bit of time to do it. But
Mhm.
ultimately, like, we're just trying to be real with the community. Illuvium needs these things, and we really shot ourselves in the foot by saying that Overworld was going to be a glorious pack opening. You know,
Mm.
that was something from early on. We said the only purpose Overworld serves is being like a glorified pack opening, and that's not what the community wanted.
Nope.
We
Ah.
said that's what it was going to be, and the community said no, we want way more than that, and now we have to go develop way more than what we said we were going to do, and that requires trying to hype up Alex after doing and getting his team, who's done 7,000 run, walk, attack animations, to then go in and put their soul into cinematic cutscenes, and we're building out the workflow for that. And that's not going to be something that I can just start leaking, because I feel like that will be the soul of Illuvium.
Mm.
We know that a player has to come in from the Epic Game Store, load our game, experience an intro, a way to blend what's happening, explain why the game is interoperable and the purpose for fuel and trading, and it's just a lot to do. But we know what we need to do, and now we just need time to do it.
It's funny. I think it's going to ultimately kind of come as a bit of a shock for part of our community because I feel we're pretty evenly split. There's the people who love the arena, and then there's the people who don't mind, even with Overworld, with what it is now, doing the grind. And I'm really excited for alluvial leveling and having
Yep.
it, like, it's, as I
Yep.
said, it's having something to reach for and to do. And like,
Yep.
I like crafting and I like leveling up. I like finding that perfect statted alluvial or that hollow.
Yep.
And especially if we're going to have, anywhere from 3 to 6 months of arena before open beta, I think it's going to come as a shock when people realize that the first couple weeks of arena,
Yeah.
you're going to have either a
Yep.
rotational deck or
Yep.
you're going to have shit
No,
alluvials because that's all you've been
absolutely.
able to catch.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Make no mistake. If we hook
Mhm.
blockchain up to Overworld in its current state, instantly we go from not good enough to just good enough.
Yeah.
Just good enough. Like, you now have a purpose that is it like there's no end to the game necessarily. Like, you just instantly have a never-ending goalpost to work towards, because even if you build your own team, now you can start grinding for
Mhm.
other people. Does
Yeah,
that make it fun? Right? Does that make it fun for those people grinding it? That's the debatable question. So we can't rely just on hooking blockchain up to a grindy,
absolutely.
you know, farming simulator, right? We
Mhm.
can't rely on that, because it may be good enough, and as soon as you involve money and all the things that crypto games got hated on
Mhm.
for, that was never like the soul of Illuvium. The soul was to be a modern Pokemon, and we just got to work towards that. But yeah, you get blockchain in, and you get ownership, and it's game on, right? It's just a
Mhm.
totally different game to what you have right now.
Well, I'll be really curious to see, like, on the one hand, I think it's excellent marketing. On the other hand, I think there are going to be a lot of people who maybe don't realize what's happening and get mad in the sense that we're going to have 3 to 6 months of arena where we can play with every alluvial. We can make every
Hmm.
combination that we can think of. We can fall in love with those characters. And there are going to be people who are like, yeah, this is my go to. I need to have this. And when open beta hits, because everyone's starting it at the
Hmm.
same level, how many people are going to go in and actually look for their favorite versus how
Hmm.
many are going to wait and hope to buy it off of the secondary because maybe they don't want to waste their time. And we're going to have that couple of weeks where we have subpar decks in arena because the best ones haven't been
Hmm.
found yet.
Yep.
uh what do you think in terms of like how many people, not necessarily from our community, because I feel like our community already is diehard enough to go and do the grind
Hmm.
or to wait it
Hmm.
out, but for the new people who will be coming in the next 3 months through the Epic Game Store, they're going to go from being handed their units to being told that the only way to do it is go in and get it yourself or buy
Hmm.
it off the secondary. What do you think the retention on that's going to be?
Um, who knows, really? Well, it's going to come down to right now. People like the game. Do they like it on the 28th of November? If people like
Yeah.
Arena, if we've got a game that people like and find fun, and we're getting good reviews and there's good retention,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters, right? I'm getting more and more attached to certain team compositions. And right now, there's a lot of theory crafting happening. You come up against a team that you get slaughtered against, but then the next day you beat it. You build teams where you like go on a win streak and you start feeling attached to those characters. For me personally, I was like, well, obviously we had these discussions. Like, is giving every character an augment and tier 5 item to every single person at all times going to hurt us in the long run? Maybe 2 weeks ago, I would have said it's got to hurt a little bit because people get spoiled for choice. But then you
Mm-hmm.
start falling on a certain strategy that you personally like and that makes sense to you, because the game is complex. It's not
Yeah.
just like you don't just play one play style. Like, you come up against people who figure out a way to counter something. Like, you play a type of team that is just all rogues and you're just destroying their back rank, and then they
Mm-hmm.
come up with a way to block the rogues getting to who you need to get to, and you go, well, it's impossible to beat that. Now I have to come up with some way to pivot. And you feel like, okay, well, that character that was invincible for the last 2 days now sucks. It's just, I don't have an answer for you. I honestly don't.
No, it's
It's
fine.
just going to be crazy. If the game is good, if people like the game, if the game's fun, it doesn't matter. I really don't think it matters.
It is like, I forget, and it's ridiculous sometimes how detailed and how much information there is in Illuvium. That
Yeah.
PvP 101 video I made,
Yeah.
by far the longest video. I hate making long videos, but to get the bare
Everyone
basic
loved it.
information of what you need, it was a 17-minute video.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do one on affinities and just, again, kind of your basic overview, give people an idea. Dude, I just finished writing that video and it's longer than my PvP 101 because there's so much details and so much complexity to what you guys built. I'm sorry. It's
And you haven't
amazing.
you haven't played PvP yet. Your whole
No.
opinion will change in a week. I will say
No,
though, on a
theoretical.
personal note, everyone on the team loves the videos you're making, and they're really professional. The quality has gotten better. Like, you know what you're talking about, and it's really easy to digest. I watch all your stuff, and I like
Aw.
it motivates the team because we do have a hardcore community who really is trying to learn stuff. I will say though, until you play it, it's a little bit of speculation
Yeah.
because the game is evolving rapidly, even internally. And but we're super excited to see the content creators who are so diehard in our community finally streaming. If you're streaming the game, I'm going to be watching you stream it. Other CCs are going to be watching you stream it. We really do appreciate how loyal you and other content creators have been. And like, I think we just gotta, if everything's not perfect, don't feel like you can't sit there and critique what we've done, because we're still doing a lot of, like, the game could just totally break in day one,
Yeah,
a
I
week
could.
in, who knows? Like, we're seeing crazy stuff. I tested a team out today, and the idea behind it was, what if the healing was so strong that you only win in overtime every time? And I built a team where you lose the first 3 or 4 rounds and you get down to like 50 health, 20 health, but then you've just buffed yourself so much, nothing they can do can beat it. And because you're at max health, your healing's so strong, the game goes to overtime, and their 8 character team loses, and you have 0 health taken off your team because the healing's so psychotic. They lose in 2 rounds, and they just have no idea how to beat it. And
I have a question. So I've only seen PvP once.
okay,
In survival, there's a certain amount of time that you have to actually run the match. Is that
yep,
that same in PvP?
yes, yeah, you got
So
a
the
minute.
overload mechanic jumps
Yeah,
in if
yeah,
you go
yeah,
over.
yeah, yes. So you can build a team strategy around surviving, because that overload mechanic will do more
Mm.
damage than any Illuvial ever can. So if you can out-heal you can
The other
literally
team.
out-heal the over. And for the first time today, I came up against someone who also had a heal team, and both of us were trying to out-heal the overtime. And I was like screaming at the screen because the overtime lasted like an additional minute. Like it went over an entire minute into
Wow.
overtime. It was
Holy
crazy.
shit.
He messaged me after. He's like, "I've never seen anything like that." I was like, "Dude, this is crazy. I don't know how." I'm really excited to. I'm not great at the game. I'm excited to see how people break it. It's fun.
Oh gosh. Ah, this makes
You're
me
gonna have a great time. I
crazy.
can sense it. I can really sense it. You're gonna love it.
All right. Okay. Jumping a little back on track though.
Yep. Yep.
Open beta is currently estimated for Q1 of 2024, and we all know that
Yep.
the roadmap, it's estimations, it's not a timeline.
Sure.
But how
Sure.
confident are you currently that we're going to hit that, or do you think it might be closer to Q2 or Q3? Like just with the amount of testing we'll have to do with PvP, balancing,
It,
adding stuff to Overworld.
at this stage, it comes down to like a few critical things with blockchain integration because there was blockers to PB3 getting to the state where it got
Mm-hmm.
that were preventing the team from making that kind of like rapid progression. And then as soon as those blockers were gone, the entire team just started flooding in and rapidly evolving stuff. The issue with game development is it's so complex and the ecosystem is so big that we've built. I don't know at this stage if anything can come in and just be like, well, that's going to take a month to fix. If nothing bad happens, we'll hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't just randomly come up with the dates. We've come up with
Yeah.
dates that are too optimistic because we don't factor in what if just some random annoying painful blocker happens that is preventing 100 people from getting beyond that point. And that's the pain of building in blockchain for the first time. It just adds a complexity layer on top that normal studios don't have, and you can't reference it to anything else. Like if a blockchain issue occurs, if a backend issue occurs, there's no playbook of how to fix certain things. And you know, it's scary, it's frustrating at times. I'm sure it's frustrating for the community, but I can't sit here and say that I'm confident in hitting any deadline unless things go great. Right? And sometimes
Fair.
things do go great. We had PB3 in a state where if you asked me, are you confident that it's going to go out on the 28th, 8 weeks ago, I would have said no chance in hell. One day we get an update from backend saying, cool, it's good to test. Within 24 hours, like we're 100% going to hit the 28th. So I can't give you a better answer than that. I wish I could say
no
like,
worries.
yeah, 100%, we're gonna do it. I don't.
I mean, whether it's games or any other business, that's always the case. You can't, make a plan for everything that could possibly go wrong, because then you're just spending all your time making plans for possible backups that you might not use. I will
It's
say one of the
frustrating. It's frustrating.
yeah, one of the things that I personally love about Illuvium, about the team, about the brothers, that
Mhm,
really has not only kept me along, but it's the first thing that drew me in. And it's
mhm.
your guys' long-term vision. It's not just about creating this one game. It's the
Yeah.
never-ending possibility of different games that we can use these alluvial characters
Mhm.
in the future. And it's not just games, it's the merch. It's the plushies that I'm excited for. It's the possible TV shows or Illuvicon,
Flashes.
whatever.
Yeah.
But what do you think will be next for Illuvium? Like in the next 12 months following open beta, have you guys talked, theorized, fantasized about what the next thing would be?
I think it's got to be mobile arena. I think before you go spreading yourself way too thin,
Yeah.
it's easy. It's very easy to spin the idea of having 7 games as being this like perfect flawless idea. But realistically, the more games you make, the more you open yourself up to possible failures. And for me, I'm not saying this on behalf of the entire team. I'm saying me personally, I
Mhm.
would like to see us get Arena working on mobile and get the overworld in a polished state where it's fun. Because if we get those things locked down, if we have a player base who has retention in Arena and retention in overworld, then you unlock an unlimited number of possibilities, because then at that stage, if the council votes for us to do a first-person shooter, we don't necessarily have to develop that ourselves. Like the Illuvium Labs team of us 150, 160 people, they don't need to necessarily do that. We need to give the asset library that we've had and built up, this monumental asset library of alluvials and animations and models and VFX, and say to an experienced team, you could go build that concurrently. That is an option. And if you can do that with one game, there's no reason why you couldn't necessarily do that with multiple games. So I don't know where it goes from there. All I do know, though, is that like unless Overworld Arena is received well by the masses, none of the other stuff is. We're not going to get to that other stuff, which I think you probably agree with. Like, who cares if you say you're going to make a kart racer and a MMO and a dating simulator if no one's playing Arena? Like, it's pretty simple to me. Like, just get what we have looking good and then contemplate crazy stuff in the future. It won't be my decision, it'll be council's decision. So
fair. Speaking of crazy stuff, I know the likelihood of you answering this is close to nil, but I feel like I have to because people have been trying to guess the next big thing in the Illuvium Discord. And someone guessed Netflix partnership and you replied bigger. And if this was Kieran, I said as much on X. If this was Kieran, I'd kind of roll my eyes because he's the ultimate hype man. He can sell sand in a desert kind of person. But you don't make those kinds of comments. So I'm a bit intrigued. And it's like bigger than Netflix, bigger than Taylor Swift partnership. Like, any hints of what we could expect?
I don't remember seeing a Taylor. Actually, I do remember.
I will put the screenshot.
A Taylor Swift partnership. I mean, I'm an artist, and I'm like, I want to do a Netflix series more than anyone, and I don't want to like give away anything here. But to me, it's 100% bigger, without a doubt. Like, without a doubt. So people can contemplate what that means. I was more saying that just to be like, if you think things are going in a positive direction, they're a lot more positive than you may realize. And I wasn't trying to like allude to us having a Netflix partnership or anything like that. I'm just saying there are things that are bigger than partnerships that can happen. And to me, this is a massive thing. And I'm sure that when the time comes, a large portion of the community is going to agree with me. So maybe some people won't. Maybe some people really love Taylor Swift. Who knows? Maybe like I want to do a Netflix series, right? I think that's where we need to go.
Yeah.
Like maybe that should have been my answer to your previous question. But unless the game's good, unless people like Illuvium, will they like a Netflix series? Maybe.
I was questioning whether or not I was going to enjoy the Arcane from the whole TFT League of Legends group. And I went into it so skeptical and I love it. And the soundtrack just plays on my phone now. I mean, kind of similar to some of the Illuviums, like the song you guys used in your original trailer. I love listening to that. And it's just, But I have one more question before we hop off.
Yep.
I caught your AMA with Classy, and you've mentioned it a couple times here that you aren't that great with auto battlers. Now, not many people might remember when I first came into the community, I was like maybe 3 months into the community. There was the introduction to Survival Arena, and you had that 1v1 $1 million ILV showdown with you and Kieran. Can we expect a $1 million co-founder battle once PvP launches?
No, because that was so frustrating to lose that. That was absolutely painful. And I mean, that's such a long time ago now. Like, that ILV needs to be distributed to the team members at the time. Like, obviously, like, we can't do that yet, right? Until we have an open beta, right? Until we have an open beta, we can't do that. But that really pissed me off because the game wasn't PvP and it was so painful, and I made one wrong click or something like that. I forgot to put an atlas in that last round. It was just really, really frustrating. And as much as survival was cool at the time, I can promise you Arena is far more competitive. I'm it's look, I mean, we could do all the AMAs in the world. I mean, in 5 days, 6 days, what is it? 7 days from now,
Hmm.
you're not even gonna care about doing YouTube content anymore. You're just gonna be playing
I'm
the
just gonna
game.
stream 24/7.
Do it. Like, do it. Take a break from no one cares, really. I think the first 2 weeks, everyone's just gonna be playing the game. Like I feel like I've been pretty right with like community sentiment before. Like when we first launched Survival, I was saying to the community, like, I think people are really going to like Survival, but Overworld, it's probably going to be received as boring. That's what happened. I mean, it's not like I'm a prophet or anything. It was pretty obvious,
Hmm.
but there is far more hype around Arena internally, like just 1,000 times more hype for Arena than there was for Survival or Overworld up to this point. Yeah. And we have big group of TFT pros and Hearthstone pros who are about to be streaming this game on release. It's like
Mm.
the fun stuff is coming finally. Like the
Yeah,
fun
I know,
stuff
right?
is finally coming. Like, do all the AMAs in the world. You can contemplate and speculate on lore and stuff. We just wanted to make a fun game, and I feel like we're
Hmm.
so close to seeing real gamers enjoy our game.
Awesome. Your time's valuable. I've got to get stuff, so we're gonna have to cut
Yep,
it short there.
cool.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and
Honestly,
enjoy
go follow.
PvP.
Yeah, go follow Artemis. She's been killing it. She's just doing a great job. Everyone in our team loves what she's doing, so you got to support. You got to support people like her.